Okay, so now we have what? Leatherface, Jason, Freddy, Pinhead. But now there's Johnny. In a violent nature, it is time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? I'm Klep Napier for wearecritix.com, and I am here with our newest member who will be spearheading the horror department of CritiX, CxCC, McGool for X Screen Podcasts. You guys got to look out for it. And today we are here to talk about and review In a Violent Nature, directed by Chris Nash. Before we talk about what we thought about this film, because we both watched this movie and it put us through some things. It put us through some emotions, some feelings. Some were good, some were bad. But definitely we will not forget this movie. Let's talk about what it's about. So this film, the cool thing about this film, one of the cool things is that it is shot from the perspective of the killer. As far as the actual synopsis, I mean, it really can't give away much without spoiling a lot of the storyline.
That's true.
But I feel like it is a revenge plot, which most of these good horror movies pretty much set up. And it is about the killer pretty much roaming around the forest or the woods and stalking individuals for his own apparent reason in the darkest kind of way. Yeah, I love the perspective aspect, how it's like we see everything that's happening through the mind or not the mind, but just physically through the eyes of the killer, not so much the overall storyline and the stars and the characters in this movie. So I want to start and ask you, McGool, like what did you think about this film? Like, first going in, what did you think?
First and foremost, it's about time that we get to meet another slasher. You know, like every generation needs one, and Johnny is gonna definitely hit the spot, especially for you gore heads, man. I can't tell you how stoked I am on this movie, because I think I would just spoil it for the rest of you. Honestly, it's so good, and there is just this between the cinematography, it was a journey, man. That was a journey, man. But it was a journey in, like, I've never felt like I got to accompany the killer in the same capacity. You know, just the point of view, the approach they had cinematically, the framing, even the contrast in some of the colors of the landscape to the character that we're following. It just hits these moods that I love this movie.
Yeah, like right now. We speak about like the cinematography of this thing. Shout out to the film, the crew, the cinematographer, the director. It's shot beautifully. Like, I've never seen a horror movie set in that setting that was shot like that, which really kept me engaged. I'm gonna speak for myself. It kept me engaged. Just being a part of the journey of the killer, like you said, like, it's intense. I put up a status like recently where I said, listen, this movie made me question why do I love horror movies so much, because it feels personal. It feels like it feels like you're on this journey and you're like,
well, maybe not even personal, but intimate. Like, it was intimate with the slasher, and you know, we do get intimacy, but sometimes it takes developing a franchise before we've gotten to the point where we have enough lore and context and experience with the slasher to really have this intimate knowing of him or her. But in this case with Johnny, man, it's just like he's an open book with you from the get-go.
Yeah.
And like, you get to follow this buildup of what becomes the lore all in one sitting. Mm-hmm. So you just feel so much more connected and accessible to the slasher. I mean,
yeah, I thought it was really cool how they set up the character and you follow along in a journey and everything that's happening. Like, you know, like in most cases when you're watching a horror movie, you're watching it from the perspective of the victims. Mm-hmm. So you're sitting around, you know, you got victims around a campfire, or you got victims, you know, walking in a campground or something like that. And off in the distance, there's a killer kind of stalking. But in this case, it's in reverse. You see the storyline happening as the killer is watching. But you still hear the dialogue. You got to pay attention to know storyline-wise in order to follow. Otherwise, you're just a mindless psychopath just taking people out. So I like that. But let's talk about some of the things. It's a great film in that aspect, but there are some things that we didn't like.
There was something. I'm a sucker for how we're left at the end, and the initial sitting feeling was just, it wasn't good. I didn't feel satisfied. I thought like we were almost there, and then it wasn't that, and then we went home.
Yeah.
We slept on it, and in our own different ways kind of came to the same kind of feeling at the end of it, which was, this movie still kicks butt.
Yeah. So yeah, so for me, like it was two things that I didn't like, because the movie is primarily set up around the perspective of the killer. There's like one or two scenes where you're not in the perspective of the killer, and they actually kind of put you into the story with some of the victims. That was the one part that I didn't like, because I was really excited about following the killer's perspective. So that was just like one minor part.
I will say one thing, if you don't mind, about that aspect is I felt like our director Chris Nash here took the opportunity in those moments to bring modern context to this story. It was only in those gaps that we would see them using cell phones or things that brought this serial killer into the modern century, right? Into this modern day of like, he's killing people now, not back in the 80s.
Yeah, because you don't know what time. You don't know the time. You really don't know the time frame of this film until that moment. You're right. But my second thing that I didn't like was the ending at first. So here's where we're a little different. Like I when we initially stopped watching it, I was like, what was that? What the hell? Then we went our separate ways. She went home, I went home, and then I'm sitting with myself, and I'm like, the reason I didn't like it is because it's so unsettling, the way that they give you all this like just violence. I'm talking, there's some kills in this thing that are just...
We haven't even gotten to that part.
So, and then the ending just kind of lets you kind of like, here, now you just sit with that.
Good luck. Good luck to you on that drive
counseling.
home.
I'm telling you, I needed counseling after this, man. Yo, this movie is wild, guys and girls. I'm telling you right now. I mean, is there anything else? Because I feel like we've touched pretty much everything that you need to know about
Gore
Violent
fans,
Nature.
you want a fresh dose of some of the coolest, most vicious, gory kill scenes. Have to get to this theater and watch it. Comes out May 31st. And honestly, I will go watch it again, and then I'll watch it when it streams, and then I'll watch it again and again, because this killer he's the coolest.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the film that you want to tell people about, kind of like what we did with The Strangers. I'm trying to think of other underdog horrors that people brag. The Babadook, people brag, Hereditary. This is definitely going to be one of those movies that you're going to be, word of mouth is going to make this thing do better than people thought it was going to do. In a Violent Nature, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is the movie, May 31st. Make sure you go and check it out. Again, I am Klep Napier. This is MC Ghoul. Guys, make sure you're checking out wearecritix.com and our new X Screen and web. We're going to be everywhere. We're going to be everywhere. Guys, just make sure you check it out. And we will talk to you all later. Peace.